Dang. I like hit a couple speed bumps and a pothole, but we're here. We made it. Uh dang. I had a new intro for y'all for yesterday, but we had a family emergency. But we wanted to do this show because it's how shall I say muy importante. But before I get started, let me just do this and we'll get right into it. Yeah, I had to put up a trigger warning because this topic is definitely a sensitive one, and it can be very personal, but hopefully, well, I know we have resources that we provide in the description, and hopefully we can enlighten others who don't know anything about it, or have experienced it but didn't really know what was going on, um, and just offer some more information that would be helpful and proactive if you or someone you know that's close to you, if you think they're ever experiencing anything like we're about to discuss. Hopefully we can give you some information to help you all navigate through that situation. But before we get started, we got SpaceAgeAfrican official Chilimboy, and we got Kick the Low. So y'all know what it is. Holla at the people.
Yo, what it do? What it do? What's going on, Juke? What's going on,
Chilling.
my bad. I just saw your joint in the thing in the Discord, and I didn't even know if y'all was still going. You know what I mean? But we good.
We good.
Everybody in the chat, peace to the chat.
You bubbled out. They got you. Dang, you went out, Kent.
Yeah, you went out, Kent.
Try it one more
Anyway, peace, everyone. We here in the building. We're gonna deal with a semi-sensitive subject. Hopefully, everybody take heed and listen to it. You know what I mean? Grateful for the continuation of the folks who tune in when we hit this live link, man. Y'all stay, y'all some good supporters, man. We really appreciate it. So you know what I mean? Shout out to the PseudoKillas, the PseudoKiller Army, and of course those in the Discord. We had some high conversations today. So, it'll be interested. If you're not in the Discord, make sure y'all reach out. You have a lot more conversations as well as a lot more sources than what you normally see presented on the show. So, Kent, you back?
We can't hear you. You might have to go out and come back in. Yeah, he already know. If there are any of the ladies in the Discord out there and you hear the sound of my voice, make sure you hit that link in the Discord. I wanted ladies to be a part of this conversation, especially those who have children. I do not have any children. I've
My
never
bad. Can y'all hear me?
yeah, I've never
Yeah.
experienced anything like that. So I wanted well, if they wouldn't mind, just to share their experiences, if they didn't mind, but that's totally on them. But either way, we still can get the information out. Go ahead, Kent.
Yeah, my bad, man. My phone lost signal for a second, but
It's
nah,
okay.
man. Peace to everybody out there, man. I think it's a very good topic to speak on, man. I know a lot of people go through it and don't even realize they going through it.
Right.
As far as women are concerned, I know a lot of men are dealing with women going through it, and they don't understand what's going on. So I think it's important for I think it's gonna be real helpful, man, to get everybody on one accord, man. It might save some relationships, might help people have more understanding, be a little more patient. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we all about, man. We about helping, breaking it down to the science of it all. You know what I mean? We do the brain show, so we can point to what parts of the brain is being activated and what's going on. So, let's do it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. So, of course, um this segment of the interactive brain show, and that's what I'm calling it. We're getting back to the brain show conversations, has to do with how postpartum depression affects your brain. Um, and what's so interesting in researching this is that it actually affects your brain in many different ways, um, in ways that I had no idea. And I think one of the most surprising things that I read concerning this discussion was that it actually affects the shape, the size of your brain, meaning that when a woman is pregnant, um, her brain can actually grow in size. And I was like, wow. And that's due because of the hormonal overload that's taking place in the body. And I think that's definitely one of the things we're going to speak on is, what are the hormones? How are they produced? And what are they doing? Okay. And then what is this thing about postpartum? How does that come about? So we're gonna get a few things. I actually took some notes on this show, so I wouldn't forget any important points, especially the names for some of these hormones that are important for the process of carrying a child and birthing one, but also uh, could be the issue of women, having what do they call it? Is it baby blues, which is a little different, but I think we'll briefly discuss on that, and ultimately postpartum depression, which is a real thing. It's a real, um, I'll say, type of psychosis, but we can contribute this to our hormones and other things.
Yeah.
Marcus, I mean, Ken, did you have something to say? Or, Marcus, you can go ahead and start it off if you
Well,
like.
I just wanted to say, the most important thing, man, any guys that might be going through it or might end up maybe going through it in the future, don't take things so personal. You know what I'm saying? If you're dealing with someone that's going through this, because it's really not them that you're dealing with. It's the hormones, like Juju say. It's other things going on within the brain that might alter the normal interaction that you might have with the person. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So one of the first things to do is just acknowledge of the possibility that it might be happening, and then not taking things personal and just getting more information on it. But go ahead, Mark. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, it's not a new condition. It's a condition that seems to be present in humans for a very long time.
Mhm.
Um, More attention is being drawn to it. So there are certain physiological changes that take place during. First of all, let me say this: there's no clear answer to what causes it. It
Right.
could be one of those situations in where there's multiple different things and we just branch them all under one name, as in postpartum depression, referring
Mhm.
to the period in which it takes effect. It could be genetic, it could be hormonal, it could be a social physiological effect that takes place. What we do know is that it can there's gradients to it, and it can be very severe, where it can
Right.
come to the point where a mother may want to harm herself or her child.
Right.
Um, we're not mental health professionals, so if you are in that position, please hit the link and seek professional help. That's the best advice that I could give you in this situation.
And I
Um,
think, wait a minute, what you mean by hit the link though? You mean like
Yeah,
hit the
no,
link
no,
to the
flash that number, flash that number
description?
real quick. G.
No, I don't necessarily have the number, but in the
Oh, okay,
description
okay.
box, hit the link. No,
yeah,
that was
that's what I'm talking about in the
yeah,
description box. You put it in there, right?
yeah, I
Help stuff.
did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. There's suicide helpline. We put in resources for women who may be suffering, so they can have support groups and different things like that. But the most important thing is that if you sense a problem and you've been having this rate of depression for more than a week, there's something going on. And maybe consult with somebody, consult with your healthcare provider first and foremost. But tell a friend, tell family members that you trust, and different things like that, because family and community is important. I wanted to highlight, and Marcus text me this earlier, but this is actually Mental Health Month. So I think this is a very appropriate show, and I like that we can take the opportunity on different occasions like Women's History Month, or Black History Month, to do shows on certain things, and recognize certain individuals or whatnot. So Mental Health Month, that's pretty much bringing awareness. So, and one part of the awareness is another thing that I learned in this research is men also suffer from postpartum. Right.
That's
Right.
interesting.
Exactly. So, that was important. But before you go in, Marcus, I want to read a few points, right? And this is no secret. I got a lot of this information off the videos. There are 3 videos that are that I put in the description, but they're in a list. The first 3 videos, those videos are perfect and awesome. Also, the organization that I got the videos from, they have YouTube, but they have an online access. Um, please look into that. So babies literally hijack your brain and your body. Your body starts to produce a huge amount of estrogen. Um, it's described as being sort of like when you went through puberty, right? Your body started, doing all this stuff, producing all these hormones, and you may not thought you was acting wild, but I know for sure your parents thought you was going crazy out your mind. Okay. um let's see, estrogen, of course, is one of those that we know. And I believe that the research says that your body produces 40 to 50 times more than what you usually have. The type of estrogen that's produced is estradiol, And if you need to take notes on some of this so you can do some more work, fine. But I kind of wanted to give you some of the chemical process. So I'm going to give this information to you. Then I'm going to let Marcus go in, and then I have some more. I really wanted to definitely address men going through it and show you how that goes, and then also deal with people who are in that are more susceptible to getting postpartum. What is the other thing that I wrote? Uh, Also, your progesterone levels increase. Um, Progesterone actually is important, and I'm gonna tell you why these things do that, because it's important for stimulating your uterus, and also to prepare you for childbirth, and well, pregnancy, and of course childbirth. Progesterone, what did I say, acts as nature's own anti-anxiety drug. Okay, so I think y'all can kind of see on how postpartum is almost somewhat as a natural, it is a natural occurrence, but it's kind of meant to be, because you really can't avoid it. It's in the simplest ways. Your body has pumped, your brain is producing these hormones that are pumped into your body, like dopamine and oxytocin and progesterone. So it's kind of giving you this, feelings of euphoria. It's putting you in a certain type of mood and preparing you to go through, this thing called childbirth, which can be very hard. So you need those things. So once you've had that child, there's no need for these hormones. So, how I took it, it's like you being, if I'm sorry to use this, I'm sorry, I apologize, but it's almost like an addict being weaned off of drugs, or I don't know. You ain't got to be an addict.
Like,
Like if someone took away, if you were a marijuana smoker, shoot, if you're a drinker, even if you have one glass of wine a day, If someone said, if you had to stop that one glass of wine, I'm sure you definitely would feel a little different and it wouldn't be a good feeling. Let me just say that. I'm gonna stop there, Marcus Kemp.
Hey, hey, remember when we did that brain show when we talked about homeostasis?
Right.
So not I know you were speaking about how the baby hijacks your brain, and I'm pretty sure it takes away from the levels, like your brain. You know how we said the brain is trying to balance your body budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that that's an effect too, that it takes away from it, kind of throws everything out of whack in a sense. Would you say that?
On one part when they're pregnant or when the
Yeah,
baby's
like
had.
yeah, why they preg? Well,
Because I feel like when they're pregnant,
hmm,
it's like a balance that usually they're okay for the most part, and unless there's some like some pre-existing conditions or type of mental psychosis
right,
beyond
right, right.
postpartum that could perhaps be causing. I can't even say that. Let me tell you a story. I just had her here too. Her name is Desiree. She's like my favorite cousin. She's
Hmm.
14. Her mother was my first cousin. That's my Aunt Mildred's daughter. She passed away. She passed away from complications with breast cancer. Desiree
Mm,
was only 3, but for a long time in the family, we dealt with her because she was bipolar, and she dealt with that. And I try to be open with that so people don't understand that it takes family to deal with those issues. She may have had some episodes, but when she got pregnant, her body actually regulated her. So there was no
mm,
need for her to take her medication. That's why I'm thinking maybe not. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
But it became a problem when she had Desiree, because now her body's not because think
Back
about
in,
it, your body is producing oxytocin and dopamine and things like that. You get what I'm saying?
right, right, right.
Progesterone. So yeah, and once she had Desiree, her body wasn't producing these things, but I mean, for 9 months, she was, medicine free. She didn't have to take this medicine. So she felt like she
Hmm.
would be okay. And she had one of her worst relapses, you know,
Mm,
because,
okay.
her body was no longer producing that. And it probably sent her in a spiral for real. And to come to think about it, I wasn't aware of this information, but probably, because it was probably a little bit of postpartum and that she had that pre-existing condition that took her overboard. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But we're not a family to be hiding anything under a rug or feel like, we're not gonna let doctors handle it. We're not do it ourselves. We know that we're not capable to deal with that and to help her in the right way. So we're gonna seek out medical help from a medical
Right.
professional. You understand what I'm saying? Because the thing then was like we need her to be okay because she has a daughter now, you know.
Mm,
Um Unfortunately, cancer cut her short. So even with my journey, it was just compounded because we had already dealt with a whole bunch. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But
right.
Desiree's 14 and she's thriving, right? But that'll be something that I mean, I'll probably have to do it, but definitely let her know the situation with her mother. Like she kind of knows, but she doesn't, right? And to understand that it probably is genetic too, but that's the pre-existing condition. So
Right.
and that we know for sure. We know that her body regulated her. You feel me? Like it produced anything that her manic depression wasn't producing to have her in those episodes. You get what I'm saying?
Got you, got you.
Yeah. Marcus, you want to cut in? Because I know I'm talking a lot. I talk a lot. I
Well,
think
no, I think y'all doing a good job. I mean, this is exactly what we should be doing, just discussing some of these factors and where they
Yeah,
come
cause
into play at. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So and I think that speaking for our community, mental health is such a stigma
Yeah, boy.
that it'll be that I think this is an appropriate and good conversation because we should feel comfortable speaking about mental health and understanding that this is something that I think that the lowest stat seems about almost like 1 out of every 5 pregnancies end up in some form of postpartum. That's not I mean so that's a significant number
Right.
of women who will go through this into some degree, and they
Right.
may not all get to the point of a severe depressive states,
Correct.
but they
Right.
may still experience some of it, and we should be
Right.
aware of it. And then being aware of it can help us create an environment in which they're comfortable enough to say, "I'm struggling with this."
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Um, yes. Um, I ain't rushing you. If you got some more to say it. I'm gonna go into postpartum and men. I
Yeah,
just want to touch on
Yeah,
that.
I'm about to say
okay,
that. So that's an
yeah,
interesting one right
yeah.
there. Because
So
how many men knew that was a thing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
And it probably
it-
wasn't the women in this situation. Some it could
right?
have been the men, but y'all just didn't know it. So y'all gonna blame her, you know?
Hey, look, and to the
It
people in
was
the
Eve's
audience,
fault.
the main thing is, man, we want, whoever may be going through this, just know you ain't alone. You know what I
You're
mean?
not.
You got people out there. It's a common thing. So
Yeah.
hopefully the information comforts you in some kind of way, the way you're not by yourself. But yeah, that's interesting though, Drew.
I
I
didn't
didn't know we was
either.
out here
No.
postpartum, and you know what I mean.
So let me find it real quick. I'm gonna share a couple more
I'm about
things.
to say source up,
So,
source up.
I got it. You know, come on, don't do me. You know I got
Nah, I know
it.
you. I know.
Dude, Sheffrin trying to challenge me. How much you want to bet? Okay, trying me. So I'm gonna share a few things for you. So when I'm looking down, I'm reading from notes. So y'all take notes too, so y'all know. So oxytocin. So it causes the contraction of the uterus during childbirth, and it makes your breasts grow bigger. So that's so um, it could be able to hold milk. Okay, because I mean that's the thing. Pregnancy brain. Pregnancy brain is a real thing. Um, some other things about postpartum, like you're always tired, having mood swings, is due to all the hormonal changes taking place in your body. I already spoke on this, but the brain changes, right? It changes in size. Um, at different trimesters at that. So it doesn't necessarily change in size at one trimester, stay that one, like it will fluctuate. That was fascinating to me. It will increase in size during certain trimesters. Um, if a mental shift takes place, and this shift from being focused on your job to so I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. So they'll say also, um, particularly after you have the baby, like you will automatically have this mental shift, so before, if it was your first child, for sure, before it was just like concentrating on work, dealing with life, focusing on paying the bills, whatnot, what now. But once you have the baby, or even when you're pregnant, that shift changes to caring for your baby. That's another reason why you're having these pumping of hormones, right? When you look at your baby, it increases like your dopamine or oxytocin, right? They mirror it as to when a couple is in love. Like that's the same type of feeling that you have when you look, at your baby's face or whatnot. Also, the hormones are important because they put you in a mode of protection, right? So even though you're tired, you seem to be like more alert. And this would be after you have the baby, you know. Like you'll seem to be like more alert, you'll be more on guard, and things of that nature. I found that interesting. And they literally, and this came from one of the videos, they literally said that this was a type of pruning. Like, so your brain is going to get rid of the things that it's not necessary anymore, and it's going to tune your brain more to taking care of this child,
Mm.
and things like that. So I- look, we had the brain show dealing with tuning and pruning, and I think we spoke on, does your brain only tune and prune when you're a baby, and The consensus was no, it won't do it to the magnitude it does as a child, but there are other processes in your life where your brain will tune and prune, and that's one of them with the baby. So I'm gonna get into men's postpartum, and since Kent told me the source of, I'm a pseudokiller, so I don't got no problem with this.
Let's get it.
Okay. Okay. You hear it. What does that say, Kent? Read the board for me, fam.
Postpartum men.
Yeah, buddy.
Got a dude
So
right there with the baby in his
the
arms. I
dude with the
see.
baby. So this is basically a website for men who feel like if they have postpartum, it asks you, do you have PPND? That's postpartum disorder. Um, it says PPND is paternal postnatal depression. So that's
Mm,
what they call it for men. It says up to 1 in 4 new dads have PPND, paternal postnatal depression. Depression, anxiety, and other problems with mood can occur anytime during the first year of your child's life. If you think you might have PPND, um, paternal postnatal depression, please carefully read the page and complete the assessment. That's another thing. So they have an assessment on this page, but there's
mm-hmm.
also another assessment. I'll get into that later because I don't want to talk too much. That they have for women in particular, if you're thinking having a problem. So it says, unfortunately, we're only beginning to understand prenatal, what is it, postnatal, sorry, paternal postnatal depression. One of the things we know the least about is what puts men at risk for it. Here are some things that research suggests may increase your chances of experiencing paternal postnatal depression. And I would confidently say that what I'm about to read to you will also apply towards women too. But there are
Uh-huh.
other factors for women that have them more susceptible. And I think we'll get into that a little later. But lack of good sleep, change in hormones. Remind you, I told you that men have increase in hormones. Hold on, I'm gonna stop there. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up in a minute. I promise. But there's one particular
Now you
hormone.
good. Keep going.
I want to say it's lactate or lactane or something like that. Give me a minute. So I'm gonna start here. Give me a second. So it said dad also experiences the release of oxytocin and prolactin, the milk hormone, like when they're holding their baby. They say that there are higher levels of prolactin in men who are more attentive to their children or more hands-on. Um, yeah, that higher instance of prolactin can be correlated with fathers that are very active with their children. So yes, oxytocin and prolactin, like men actually increase the levels of the milk hormone. Prolactin is also something women have that helps with milk production. Like, how wild is that?
Yeah,
Did
that's
y'all know
wild.
that?
Nah, I didn't know that.
Wild. But
Yeah.
it's not wild. It just shows you how science is counterintuitive and how it's important to actually to read and understand things instead of just guessing at them, right? I'm gonna stop for
Mm-hmm.
now. Kent, Chilimwe.
No, I didn't. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's awesome.
As far as the men go, I was just reading further down the line here on the as far as the I think you scroll down
Oh, here you
the
go.
list
Oh,
of
go ahead, read
yeah
them
that
off.
list. It says so you stopped at what changes in hormones. You got
Yeah.
hold on. Okay, you got poor relationship with spouse, personal history of depression, poor relationship with one or both parents, relationship stress with your partner or the in-laws, excessive stress about becoming a parent or father. I think that's a big one. A lot of
Hmm.
people deal with non-standard family, such as being unmarried or stepfather, poor social functioning, a lack of support from others. That's a big one that a lot of people go
Yes, it
through.
is.
Economic problems or limited resources. I think that's a major issue
Hmm.
in certain communities, and a sense of being excluded from the connection between the mother and baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's for, I guess, far as the father is concerned.
Right. He doesn't get the
So yeah.
attention anymore. You feel me? That the new child gets the attention. So it's like he's
Oh, okay,
battling
yeah, yeah.
for attention from his
They don't
partner.
even know they dealing with that.
Exactly.
Don't even know
Um,
you want that attention too from them.
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes
Hmm.
sense.
So
I mean, men want to be. I know it seems strange, but they want to be connected to the family. In this case, that's what they're talking about.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you're in a relationship. Um, you know, you want to feel that bond that the mother and child has, not and maybe not in the sense of competition, but more so as in a sense of family and familiarity. You know,
Okay.
so that becomes a factor in it.
All right.
Child having a child is highly, at least from an evolutionary point, expensive. It takes a lot of the body budget. It consumes it at astronomical rates, and not just for the woman, but for the men. But I wanted Kent to read that sentence under that last one because I think it's very important.
The last
Right under
on
where
that
it says,
list.
yeah, where it
Okay, it
says,
says
yeah,
okay, gotcha. It says one thing we do know is that if your partner is depressed, there's a good chance you are too. Up to
Mm,
half of men whose partners have postpartum depression are depressed themselves. So yeah, I
wow.
would agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
and
Wow.
so what
I didn't even read the whole source, so I'm still learning. I just got chills. That's wow.
so what we're talking about is, yeah, you know, we've brought it up before, is pair bonding. That's what they're
Hmm.
referring to. And so in human relationships, humans have the capability to pair bond, and that is to have a connection in such a way that we monitor and regulate each other's body budget. And so when one of them get out of sync, that becomes depressive to you in a similar sense.
Hmm.
Um, and so pair bonding is important. And I know, you know, in today's environment and conversations that we have, we don't talk about um, human relationships being healthy and how it should look as much as we we probably should, because there are seeing some severe adverse effects to some of the behavior patterns that are being promoted today. Um, and so, you know, it's something we should discuss. You know, because depression can manifest in many different ways,
Right.
Right.
and so
King.
we may
Hey
say
Mark.
something. Yes, sir.
Hey, so I remember my bad. I didn't mean to cut your build. Go ahead, finish what you were saying. I don't want to cut you off real quick.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to look at some of the overall, um, like really look into that list, the things that we were talking about. Um,
You want
not
me to
all
back
of it
up?
is it's not an inclusive. No, you don't have to. We can.
Okay.
It's not an all inclusive list, but we can see some things. Um, some of it comes from the rapid change in hormone balances,
Right.
Hmm.
right? In which your body has become accustomed to this amount of dopamine, and all of a sudden it just spiked, and now, you know, trying to get that regulatory system back. Emotional stress, anxiety that builds up. Will I be a good father? Will I be a good mother? These type questions. How will I be able to do this and do that? And it
Right.
Hmm.
builds up, and then your default brain network gets to running rapid, and it starts
Right.
to you start to imagine and predict
Hmm.
these negative outcomes that may
Yeah.
not be true at all. We're gonna
Right.
go back to that because there's some to that thing. There's some his ancient practices that deal specifically with that. Um, a lack
But
of
that's what.
support and a lack of community. Right? We have
Correct.
areas in the United States in which when a woman gets pregnant, she's shunned by her family because it's it's against their religious
Their
teachings and
religion,
systems.
fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so then this then increases the risk of her developing depression, that social support that you need, both financially and physically presence, and social support in a sense of friendships and healthy relationships. You know,
Man.
uh, so and then drug use, alcohol use, and drug use plays a part if you're an addict. You know, so I mean, it's complicated, but I think we should really grasp some of these concepts.
I was gonna speak
Facts.
to. I know when we did a brain earlier brain shows, we talked about how sometimes depression is the brain's inability to make good predictions. And so I'm wondering if I know you spoke about, there's the anxiety of, okay, how am I gonna survive, or how I'm going to will you be a good parent, or how you gonna make things work or make ends meet and things of that nature. With that will probably play a major part in, I guess, as far as the postpartum goes, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, anxiety about outcomes.
Right, right, right,
Anxiety can anxiety is a function of human existence, but if it's not regulated by the body budget well, not regulated by the brain well, it can lead to severe mental episodes like depression.
right,
And
right,
so some ways that they can release anxiety should be discussed. I'm
right.
sure that's where you get professional help at, ways to help to monitor your
Right.
anxiety levels.
The
I was,
solutions for that.
and some of it is men play a part in that.
Right.
Sometimes men make commitments to women, and then when
Yeah.
they get pregnant, they leave.
Yep. Yep.
That's a form of the anxiety that might develop.
Who's that?
You know,
Yeah, I can imagine you pregnant with a baby and the man say, "Yup," you know what I'm saying? What baby? Who baby? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a major problem in a lot of our communities, man.
Um, I want you to go into this, Marcus, and then I'll do some more quick readership to give the full like story on postpartum. You see the screen?
Yeah. Yep. Spot treatment.
Yeah, no, no, no. Um, where you at, Marcus? Actually, I'm trying to find the passage. Hold on, give me just a minute. So, can you see that? Is that bigger? Let me see. Let me see. Is that bigger? Yeah, that's a little bigger. I'm gonna go a little bigger. This is what you would call an Igbo. So you'll find this in West African culture. Igbo ethnic groups you'll also find in Yoruba and other West African groups, and I believe other cultures. But it's Omugwao. Omugwao is the Igbo term for the traditional custom of postpartum care. And this didn't like start in modern times. This is initially part of the culture. So, and I will argue that also just how American culture is, because there's this thing like when you're dealing with like anthropology or understanding other cultures, um, a lot of time we know that Western culture deals with me, I, you know what I'm saying? West African West African culture by tradition deals with us, our, meaning that it's not just about the individual, it's more about the family, thus the community, thus the nation. Okay. um it's like that, so I'm not surprised that this is a part of it. And I actually think I heard about this, Marcus, or read it, just didn't realize what I was getting at. But I do know about the mother-in-law. But Omagwu is a Igbo term for the traditional custom of postpartum. And the Scarab Chronicles, if you're out there, if there's a similar thing in Egypt, please let me know. But the mother-in-law, a close female relative, come to care for the new mother and baby or host them in their home. They take on most of the household chores caring for both mom and baby. This includes keeping the baby at night. So, just in those sentences, you can see how this would help mitigate
Mm-hmm.
some of the stresses that are due to postpartum or bring on postpartum. Because in the readership, when I read to you, it'll tell you things to either mitigate what, if you already have postpartum, or you know d- things you can do to try to prevent it. And one of those things is getting adequate rest. Another thing is self-care, doing something for you that you like, because
Right.
sometimes you can get lost in this whole, oh, the newborn, like, even if it's your mom, like, she not even thinking about you, she's thinking about her grandchild now, like, that's the only thing, like, again, the attention can move away from you, and you know the care that you need from others, to just, the focus is all on the baby, so you can be left on the wayside, and maybe people, aren't paying attention. But in this culture, like, they make sure that they pay attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, them taking care of the baby at night, you can, so it says this includes keeping the baby at night, allowing the mom to catch up on sleep. Of course, I know most mothers would really appreciate this one, which she says, Omugwo also comes with plenty of pepper soup and massages for mom and the baby. I've seen this, actually, how they massage the baby and stuff. It's very interesting. Sometimes it looks crazy as hell, but that baby don't be crying or nothing. Be
Yeah.
so content. It's believed that spicy pepper soup and hot water massages to a mom's belly helps loosen and flush out blood clots from the mother's body after delivery. It is frequent practice. Uh, it is frequent practice to bind one's tummy afterwards, which they do a lot now, actually. Sorry. Mildred walked
Yeah.
in, she scared me. I use my Belafit corset. Baby gets what I would describe as, give me just a moment. Baby gets what I would describe as a Swedish massage. Hold on. Believed to increase the baby's strength and flexibility. Omugwa is a great support system to help transition a young parents into their new life and deter postpartum and anxiety. Um, Marcus, if you wanted to expound on that.
So I wanted to ensure that we understand 2 points. One, it is not new. That postpartum is not a new Western society thing. And also, I wanted to show you how important it is for community and culture and family to help at least minimize the anxiety and the postpartum depression that may happen. It's very important that we recognize that. And sometimes we can, as much as we uh, like to forget, we could actually learn quite a bit from some of the historical practices that we see around us. We quickly, we put aspects to ancient people, um, but in reality, there are some things that they've done that while we may not have fully understood, there was certain aspects of it that was necessity through culture, and so we can miss that. So you can imagine in the 1800s, people viewing this practice may not understand its importance, but today we can recognize that that sense of community, that sense of family, and the culture that they built in that was there to address a human condition, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
look at another place, is Morocco. Morocco is called the what is it called? It's called hammam bath rituals, and this was a blend of multiple factors, but it's the same thing. They go to a new mother, they prepare food for her, clean up and situate the home, and then they take the mother while someone watches the child and go through this ritual of cleansing, um, to try to alleviate. It's done with family, some of the stress and pressures of childbirth and raising children. And you can find that in Native American cultures, Asian cultures. You can even find it in some historical European cultures, some of their rituals that they have involving childbirth. Um, and so this is a recognized thing of the human condition. And I think how they handle that is beautiful. I think that many of the more Western societies should really take heed to how important that role is um, when we're talking about depression. So that's what I wanted to point out in that case, and we can see evidence of West Africans bringing that over to America in part. So I think it's a very important.
True
Can
indeed, man. Yeah, you get him.
you? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that would be important. That just goes towards the whole thing about, just having support after the women have these babies. You know what I mean? I think that goes a long way. You know what I mean? To have that village behind you to really help you, make that transition. So, you know.
So they
Like just
did a
popped out of nowhere. Go
yeah
ahead, Mark.
they did a cross study of cultures. Um, it's in what is this? This is one of the journal entries, saved journal entries, where they did they observed a lot of postpartum rituals, and they brought them down into two parts. One is isolation, and then
Hmm.
the other is inclusion. So for most cultures, indigenous cultures, um, their rituals dealing with postpartum was inclusion. Um,
Right.
some of the areas, especially in the Near East, they had a lot of exclusion. That is, the idea that they're unclean for a period of time.
Mm.
But for most indigenous cultures, I'll drop the link in there for everyone. I think they said it was like 51 cultures over 20 countries. You can find some commonality, but for the most part, um, they practice a form of inclusion, um, rest period for the mother, some type
Yeah.
of alleviation of chores for at least a period of time.
I know
And
that I know
wait,
that rest, that sleep gotta be like probably like top number one thing that a lot of mothers are are not getting, mothers and
Right.
fathers. Like, that first month or two, that baby waking up every 2 hours, you know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah, boy.
even like just checking. I remember, man, checking to just make sure they breathing sometimes, because you still got that anxiety, like, they brand new out fresh out the womb. So you just want to make sure you see they back going up and down. So, you know what I mean? So dealing with that type of just getting that rest is like gotta be like number one on a lot of people's list.
Yeah, I'm like that with babies, period. And they ain't even mine. When they're sleeping, I'm always checking if they're
Just looking at
breathing.
yeah, once I see
Yeah,
that back go up and down two, three
boy.
times, like, all right, he
Gotta
good.
shake them a little bit just to make sure. If I don't see nothing, and then with feeding them, like I've always been that way. Like I'm super overprotective in that sense. Did you have something else to say before I give another list of my notes, Marcus?
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that oh, peace, Mac Rob, peace.
PseudoKiller official. Do
What
you
up,
want to
Mac?
let the people real quick, Mac Rob, before Marcus go in? Chilling
Yo,
with
yo,
who's that?
yo. Hey, how y'all doing? Peace.
Hey,
Uh,
Peace.
family.
y'all hear me pretty good?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Peace to the chat. Another good, amazing show.
Thank
Always glad to be able to join in and add whatever input I can add in. I heard y'all talking about babies. I got plenty of them, so.
you. Yeah,
Already.
boy.
But yeah, I like the topic. I like the conversation and the direction that the show is going. I definitely think that postpartum depression should, be highlighted, and it doesn't get enough. In my opinion, it doesn't get enough. It's not highlighted enough, and especially in our communities.
Right. Facts.
And you have to think that when our sisters are dealing with these things, that it's going to have that effect on the baby and how she's able to care for that baby as well. So
Right.
Right.
definitely making sure that the environment for both her and the baby is conducive for them both will obviously be a plus for society. And so um, yes, I think Zane asked me, have I delivered babies? Yes, I've delivered a ton of them. Probably some kids out there now. And hopefully I can just from here. I just hope I can add a few things to the conversation. So I don't want to stop the flow for sure. But
You good. Thank you. Thank you
Indeed.
for gracing us
Appreciate you,
with your
bro.
presence.
Always good, Big Mac.
Right?
Always great.
Mm-mm-mm.
I feel compelled because I have an older sister who, before we determined to do the show, I talked to her about what led to her drug addiction.
Mm.
And one of them was this very thing that we're talking about. And so
Wow.
that's why
I can
I
see
wanted to try to really emphasize the importance that not only the women who are watching this show understand, but the men involved
Yeah.
understand too, so they could have that moral support. She's much older than me, so I didn't even recognize the symptoms until I really got a little older and mature and understood about mental health in a sense. But when I talked to her, she said that she was depressed after she had my niece, and she just couldn't break it. She just couldn't
Wow.
get out of it, and she turned to self-medication.
Right.
And
I can
so
see that. Oh my God.
we see this. This is a problem, but it's a problem that with information we can address and probably minimize the damage that's done in our communities by it. So I feel as though it's an important subject. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh my goodness. That's powerful though. Because yeah, of course, that would definitely, I mean, that's why I said like that postpartum, all them hormones pumped into you and now you ain't got them no more. I mean, you got your natural happy drug all through you, like in you know what I'm saying, in excessive amounts. So to take that away, it's just like, oh man, that's like coming down.
Then throw a ton of,
It's like
then
a ton
stack it
of
up with
bricks on
everything
you,
else.
huh?
I said, then stack it up with everything else, with the
Is
not
that
getting the
is
sleep and the not the support from the family and all.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's
that's
it can
exactly
get
Trent.
hectic.
Yeah,
And we ain't even mentioning like people that have problems
pre-existing.
during
Yeah,
childbirth. And I'm just saying
mm,
like like having problem delivering, so they got to go in and do certain procedures and all that. So that's a whole
understood.
nother,
Yeah, yeah,
but
boy.
yeah. So
So I'm gonna give y'all a few more notes, just segueing off of what Marcus said about medicating to dull that pain, right? So it says once you deliver the placenta, which is one of the things that produces a lot of these hormones, your hormonal level drops. And it drops, pretty much, significantly. It's not gonna wait a couple weeks or a couple months. It like stops producing once that baby is born, especially when you've delivered the placenta. This experience can present itself in many different ways. And we're talking about the onset of just having baby blues to the onset of depression. So some of the things would be like you can't concentrate, right? Or like formulate words on the tip of your tongue. Um, you, I was looking at some of the videos and some of those doctors were moms and they were saying like one lady was saying that she would just like have this anxiety or this feeling of anxiety and she would sweat profusely. I wrote that down because your symptoms for one person might not be the same for the other. So that's
Right, right,
another
right.
thing, like just because she's experiencing certain things, you might not experience that. You might experience it differently, right? You're tired, you know, always seem to get angry, like nothing can satisfy you or make you happy. You're constantly moody. Um, and those are just a few. There's many, many more. So your brain also begins to prune by discarding neuronal synapses. I said this earlier, but it starts to discard the things that you don't need anymore to make space for those things you would definitely need into like reigning and keeping that baby, alive. It says 70 to 80% experience baby blues. So 70 to 80% of mothers will experience baby blues. And I'm saying this because I want to give you the difference. Baby blues is quite normal. That's somewhat with, the stopping of the hormonal levels. Most people can adjust pretty well to that, right? Um but some of us can. Everybody's not the same. So that baby blues can turn into something that's, a lot more. I'm not going to say a little bit, but a lot more. So baby blues usually doesn't last, like over a week. Um so even though 70-80% will experience baby blues, 1 in 10 women will experience postpartum, and some are more susceptible than others. And
Hmm.
so again, tips: sleep, exercise, listening to your favorite music. I might be redundant, but I definitely don't mind repeating, so you all can understand this, and maybe because I feel like there's lots more men than women in the chat, so you're around women, and if they
Yeah,
don't know, you can offer these things. But
I
um,
know. I know. Something that's asked often is how long can postpartum last?
oh, months, years. It's like
Yeah, 'cause
it doesn't
yeah,
necessarily have to be especially if you're not getting help. Okay, and that can turn into something else, you know what I'm saying, like just
right,
like it can grow into something bigger. And I think that's why we say getting being proactive, or once you realize that you've been moody and angry for 2 weeks now and you can't shake
right,
it.
right,
And I think one of the main symptoms that I've been reading all the sources is that you just don't have any energy, like you don't want to do anything. You know what I'm saying? You have no motivation, you know. So that's one of
hmm,
the things. It's on top of being moody or angry or having this feeling of anxiety. It's that you're just, you don't have any motivation. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to be bothered. Also the
right,
feeling of isolation. You know what I'm saying? Like so how I'm reading it, when most women start experiencing these things, they start to isolate themselves because now they're wondering if something's wrong with me. Why can't I shake this? Maybe they're feeling embarrassed. They just had a baby. They're supposed to be the happiest ever, right? That's supposed to be a joyous
hmm.
occasion, but they're not happy. Why? Is there something wrong with me? Because people don't know. So that's why we're doing the show, and it's Mental Health Month. So I think that's
I didn't even realize that mental health month. Okay,
Yep.
right.
Mental health month.
So
Yep.
so they say it looks like sadness, hopelessness, worthlessness, unable to function, lasting weeks to months, for some. Um, and also it could be the beginning of a recurring illness. Yeah, what else I had? Irritability, um, depression mode, decreased appetite. So it can turn into something else. And this something else can be all those things plus a depressed mood. Um, what I said, poor appetite, decreased appetite, poor sleep, constant irritability, and these things could lead up to suicidality. I never knew that was a word. Suicidality. So meaning you can get to the point where you're feeling suicidal or you're having suicidal thoughts. Like so postpartum grows. And when people you get to a point of suicidal and having that stress, that doesn't mean you're just a danger to yourself. That now means you're not only a danger to yourself, but you're a danger to your baby and perhaps your partner. And then that
Right.
gets serious, you know. That's my notes and readership for now. Mac Rob, you want to add something? If you're open to share any personal experiences or just what you know from your profession.
Yeah. So first off, I definitely want to say to everyone's point, it just gives such a different perspective and respect for reproduction as a whole. You
Right.
know, I have so much respect and I always have my outlook on, the strength of women. And I know that it affects both men and women, but it's just I've always said that and I said to my wife and my other children's mom. So I say to them that you are not the same person you were before you had the child.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that to them, and they're like, "Huh?" I'm like, "You're not the same." And I say, I don't expect that you're going to be exactly the same person because you've just given birth to an entire human. The amount of energy that she or a woman uses in giving birth, and some people have used the analogy, is about equal or more than the amount of energy initiated during an atomic bomb explosion. And I say that jokingly, but just to give the picture of how much work or labor is going into that process.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, watching her push this 7, 6, 8, 9, sometimes 10-pound baby, and then
Yes.
and then
Oh
after
no.
that,
Mm-mm.
after that, having to push out the placenta, and I heard y'all mention that, and some of the
Yeah.
hormones that are affected after birth,
Mm-hmm.
it's like progesterone, which is typically what they call the pregnancy hormone. So you can just
Mm-hmm.
remember
Right.
progesterone for pregnancy. Estrogen levels start to fall off. Um, there's another one called HCG,
Mm-hmm.
human chorionic gonadotropin hormone, I think it is, and that's the one that they use to even detect for a positive pregnancy. It's like a 95, 99% chance that you're pregnant if they notice this in your urine.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is prolactin and
Prolactin.
oxytocin. And these rise because, oxytocin is pretty much the bonding hormone.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the prolactin help to produce the milk, if I remember correctly. And these are all, these hormones are produced by the endocrine system, which is controlled by the central nervous system, obviously,
Mm.
which is the brain. Uh,
Right.
um, uh, but my experiences with my wife, it's funny y'all mentioned it because about 15 minutes ago I asked, I said, "Hey, did you?" Because I didn't notice it if she did. I said, "Hey, did you feel like you experienced any postpartum depression with any of our children?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think I might have had it with so and so."
Wow.
Here I am right beside her with zero clue,
Right. Right.
on our third baby. You know what I mean? And I understand
Wow.
that. And I understand. I'm like, man, 3 kids. I think I was working for the fire department and at the hospital, so I was gone quite
Working a
often. You know
lot.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I had, and that was one of the big reasons why I scaled back. I was like, man, I'm constantly leaving my wife, constantly leaving my children. Let me put this money. I got no money to put up now. Let's go ahead and do some other stuff. Let's go
I
make some
know that's right.
investments
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and let me get to my family. So that's probably that's probably the only thing that I can think of. Oh God, in
how
relation to the experience.
how often y'all have had homeboys call and be like, man, they got babies on the way. They're like, man, she's going crazy, man. I don't know what's wrong with her, man. Man, I'm about to say something. Like, hold on, bro. Like after
Well,
you done, you know what it is. You be like, oh, hey, just chill, man. You know what I mean?
well, Kent, you're right because I would argue that a lot of the misunderstanding of this process has led to a lot of situations of abuse or domestic violent cases situations.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
understanding what she's
In
coming
the
from
worst,
and
yeah, in the
then
worst cases,
Exactly.
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Was it Feminticide or female? The killing of women.
Mm,
Um, I thought I read, and this was a while
Wow.
ago, that it's higher if the woman's pregnant.
wow.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
Damn.
that's
fact check that.
that's
And
definitely.
Herbert, I'm a look that up for you. Um, yeah. So,
Yeah,
Chilembe,
let's.
I gotta
Yeah,
do
let's,
some. I'm gonna be on mute for a minute.
What happened? Somebody call me?
yeah. She was looking something up, I believe.
Did you want to respond to anything while I fact check these real quick?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me just say, from certain tests, we there are some. First, let me say that we did come to some understanding. It seems to be right now that postpartum is because, or at least one of the symptoms that they can find to monitor is that it's a uh, less activity, um, less activity in the left frontal lobe, and an increase in the right. So the frontal the left frontal lobe is part of the brain that we say like language and logical thinking and analytical reasoning. They tend to see it more in the left side of the brain in activity. So when you have a hyperactivity in the right side, that's part of the imagination. That's part of the so what they see happening is a decrease in the logic and reasoning side and an increase in the other side. Which when you think about the experiences as men and women going through that, you'll see that there's a lot of irrationality in response to things, right? And that could be actually a sign of postpartum depression. I also want to indicate that they did come out with a new medicine that you can take specifically for postpartum depression. Um, that goes with the anxiety medicine they may already prescribe for you, and that's called Zurzuvae, Zurzuvae, and it is the first medicine specifically for postpartum depression in women. Um, the clinical trials have already been through. We're naturally they'll look and see how successful this is in treating postpartum. So that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, indeed, but still seek, to the audience, still seek, um, the help from your medical caregivers, man, on what you should take, any medication or anything like that. Don't just go out there because you heard it on here and just run out there and get stuff. You know how they do, Mark. Like, oh, you said get that, but always consult with your medical caregivers, man, your
That,
doctors and things of that nature.
that's a fact. That's awesome news too, Marcus. I appreciate you sharing it.
Okay. So, my first question was, do women have a higher rate of being killed when they're pregnant? Because I think I've read this or dealt with this years ago, but um, it says, yes, studies indicate that pregnant women are at a higher risk of homicide compared to non-pregnant women. Research has shown that intimate partner violence can escalate during pregnancy. Hmm. Making it difficult, making it particularly vulnerable time for women. This increased risk of violence and homicide is linked to various factors, including relationship stress, financial pressures, and the presence of controlling or abusive partners. Consequently, pregnancy is a significant risk factor for homicide among women, often perpetuated by intimate partners. That's one. And then two, do other animals besides humans experience postpartum depression? Yes,
I'm
there's
sure. I'm about to say.
evidence
I'm sure they do.
that other animals besides humans can experience forms of postpartum depression. So, studies in primates such as the rhesus macaques have shown behaviors indicative of depression after childbirth. These behaviors can include neglect of the infant, reduced social interaction, and changes in grooming habits. So we know that as sometimes humans reject their babies, that animals reject their babies. I
Oh yeah.
follow all these Instagram pages of like these cute little like animal farms and petting zoos or whatnot. And a lot of times they always have some sort of instance where it's an orphaned baby cow or something like that because they got rejected. So I know that that happens. In rodents, research on rodents like rats and mice have demonstrated postpartum behavioral changes that mirror depression in humans. These changes include reduced motivation, decreased care for offspring, and altered neurochemical neurochemical state. Same with humans.
Mhm.
Domestic animals. So I do know that dogs have a condition. It's called pseudo. Damn, I forgot it. Pseudocystis or something like that, and that means false pregnancy.
Mhm.
Okay, and also in rare times humans can have it. I knew this one individual who experienced that. I say they were lying and scamming, but they tried to say that they went through that, but they were lying and scamming. But it does happen in that's a long personal story, but it does happen in humans to the point that they went they they well, how should I say, played like they had a miscarriage, got some type of fake blood or cut themselves and had blood everywhere. It was a wild situation.
Oh man.
And I'm in the hospital with these individuals, you know, uh,
Wow.
thinking that they were really in a situation, and come to find out, I really believe in my heart they was lying and scamming, and it was the most disgusting thing to me. But I started doing research on it because when I
Because of
saw
that.
the release forms for the hospital, it said pseudocitis or something. Y'all look it up. It means false pregnancy. And put the
Mm.
word in the chat. But yeah, that can happen. So, but in dogs and cats can exhibit signs of postpartum distress, withdrawal from the litter, lack of interest in food, and unusual aggression or anxiety. Yeah, it sounds the same as humans, right? So it says these observations suggest that postpartum depression or similar affective disorders might be more widespread among animals than previously recognized, possibly due to similar underlying biological and environmental factors. Last one. So then I asked, what are the facts? So which women are more susceptible to postpartum? And it said history of depression or mental illness. Remember I told you about my cousin?
Mhm.
Lack of social support. I get that. Stressful life events, such as financial difficulties, relationship problems, other major life changes, along with having birth of a child, can elevate the risk. And then a complicated pregnancy or birth, like you were talking about. Difficulties during pregnancy or childbirth, such as a preterm labor, emergency C-sections, or health problems in mothers or a baby can be at risk. Hormonal changes to dramatic hormonal fluctuation after childbirth can affect mood and contribute. Then it says sleep deprivation, unplanned or unwanted pregnancy, previous postpartum depression, and also breastfeeding issues, um, and domestic violence or abuse. So, and y'all can look this up. I'm not going to read all the things in that, but yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, that makes sense though. So it's not just biological, it's actually environmental also.
Right, right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Limbe?
They got a question. He said he gonna be right back. We got a question for Rob in the chat. He asks if you ever experienced depression during delivering babies.
He wow. Zane just being funny. What up, Zane?
Yeah, my own.
You say when you say when they ain't listening, when they ain't listening to you.
Man. Oh my
But I
goodness.
mean, I'm sure you can't speak on that anyway, because of the whole.
Yeah, client confidentiality. Come on
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't speak
I
on
can
that.
not names. I can talk about situations, but just not names or giving information identified. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
Um,
right.
um, I've had pretty positive experiences in delivering children. I've had I've had pretty positive experiences. And typically, one of the things that we look at, or one of the questions we ask, is, "Hey, how many pregnancies have you had? Uh, how far along are your contractions?
Mm-hmm.
How many are still living? How many abortions?" We ask everything related to that pregnancy. When is the due date? And what that does is it gives me a pretty good it gives me a pretty good sense of how urgent do I need to be in getting this patient to the hospital. Because if she tells me she's had 4 or 5 children and she's 37 weeks having contractions, I know I need to get the hell out of there. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because she's going to deliver that baby sooner or later, and you know. But I've had all positive experiences, man. I
That's a
can't
good
think of
thing,
any.
man.
Yeah, I can't think of any bad.
That's good.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
So one of the things that we haven't really touched on, we said it, but I don't think we invoked it enough, is the loss um, for a sense of pleasure. And I know that's going to touch on some men's issue is, but one of the signs is that they don't want to do things that could cause additional pregnancies. That's the best way I could put it.
Mm.
Um, that's a sign of the depression. They may feel, I've listened to some women discuss it, just in my own family, and that's one of the things that can cause conflict within a relationship. But the reality is that this could be a sign of postpartum, depression.
Right.
They don't want to engage in this activity because they're not seeking out pleasure no more. Um,
Right.
that's a sign, So we gotta be mindful that as men, that after a woman has a child, things may change, for a while,
Facts.
you know.
As Rob said, he ain't dealing with the same person afterwards.
Right. LeBeer TV asks a question.
So does postpartum only apply to births? What about a miscarriage?
That's a
Anybody
good
want to tackle
question.
that?
So if I'm not mistaken,
yes, it does.
I can say yeah, because you can have postpartum, if I'm not mistaken, during pregnancy. I think it can
Right.
actually start during pregnancy, if I'm not mistaken, or signs or symptoms of it, despite the name being postpartum.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So you can actually, yeah, you can definitely have it from a miscarriage because even if you think about what the triggers could possibly be, even after a miscarriage, the hormones level rapidly decrease. Still,
right.
you still lose the placenta producing hormones. It's two of
Correct.
them, I think. And so, yes, you can definitely have it from a miscarriage, and even just stress during pregnancy can trigger it.
Right. And
So,
it the psychological and emotional impact of losing a pregnancy.
Uh,
Yeah. Any more questions? Listen, um hit that link. Come on the panel, join the show. This is again the Interactive Brain Show. Usually we do these on Sundays, but here we are on Monday.
Oh
But
yeah.
we'll get back on our Sunday rotation and
Um,
I can play my Sunday school.
yeah,
Um,
Herbert, I agree. But they have something called baby blues. Baby blues is just
yeah, that's different. It's not to
that's
the
that.
magnitude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Baby blues is not the same thing. Postpartum, uh, baby blues is like within the first 2 weeks. It's just the buildup of having a child. They look at it as that. But baby blues can be an early sign for postpartum, which is later
Facts.
on, which can be up to like 6 weeks and afterwards. Um, and so, yeah, you're right. That term doesn't really do it justice. But there is a medical term called baby blues, which is just for about 2 weeks, up to 2 weeks after having a child. But if those baby blues continue for an extended period of time, anxiety and depression build, then we go into a postpartum. And when that depression gets to a severe state, then they look at it as a severe disease and treat it as such that you would do harm to yourself or someone else. So that's the transition between the three.
Yeah, boy. That is it.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah, man.
That is really it.
I think that was a pretty good informative
any-
one.
Yeah.
I think we got some. Just a reminder, people, we got some links in the description. If you need the sources for what we read tonight, helplines. Brothers, man, out there, just like I say, man, have patience. You know what I mean? Remember that whole thing about the support.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you could be going through it as well. So just try to be aware of things, man.
You could be the problem.
you could have it.
You can have it.
I wonder if there's an instance where the man got the postpartum and the woman don't.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's a wild one.
One more thing I wanted to share, if I can find it real quick. Like I can find it. So if you think that you could be having trouble, I did provide it in the link. So one in the men's source, which is probably the first source, there's an assessment test. So you can assess if you're having an issue, but I thought I had it. Oh, yeah. So, and also I have this for, if you're a new mother or whatnot, if you know someone and you think there's an issue, this is the Edinburgh postnatal depression scale. This is actually what doctors, nurses, medical profession used to rate if you're having an issue. It's an assessment test. And it gives you the instructions. It's actually one copy in Spanish, one copy in English. That's how most medical professionals do it anyway. But if you want to, do the assessment, go ahead. But I would say do the assessment at a doctor's office or have a doctor or nurse or what is it, the prenatal centers or whatnot. Do it. But if you want to see what it looks like, what the questions entail, so you can gauge where you're at, then I think that would be a good thing to do. So yeah, I have provided both of those scales. Here's the one for the dads too, in the description box for you all. If you want to gauge, or if you think someone's having an issue, maybe you could just do it and see. Well, yeah, I'm noticing these things in them, and I need to do more. If you want to be you want to be a good friend or family member. And this is the other one, and it explains the assessment. So, and this one is a little bit shorter. So, but yeah, I just want to tell you that's in there for you all if you know somebody or if you're interested. So I don't have no more notes to talk y'all to death with, but that's pretty much it. We wanted to, sometimes I think a lot of times people think that facts have to be all drawn out. And I find a lot of times facts are very simple. It's cut and dry information. It's the pseudo stuff that, people gotta draw it out. You know what I'm saying? So that was just, sweet and simple and filled with facts. And we just, wanted to give you what it does to the brain. And actually, I think it's quite fascinating. I didn't know it did all that until I researched it. So it was a great learning experience. So yeah, closing remarks, gentlemen.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, it was a good show. Y'all stay tuned, man. Make sure y'all check out Wednesday, Galaxy and Beyond.
Yeah.
I think y'all doing another gardening Thursday, or
Perhaps next
I,
Thursday, not
okay,
this
I
Thursday.
know that talking to plant started getting kind of heated. I think that might be
Yeah, boy. So
that might be one to.
Anthony's real busy. I'm tripping. Chilimbwe actually, deals with a farm,
Yeah,
and things.
he in his
So
busy
this is
season.
his busy time, y'all, and he
Okay,
has a family. So I'm not trying to overwhelm him.
sure
But I was like,
indeed.
dang, why you gonna give us a bomb show like that? And they say, you don't know, nah, you gotta at
Oh
least
yeah,
come back every 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to get him in, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. You feel me?
cool.
But no
No, we got
expectations, no disappointments.
I know we got our community skeptics been heating up. They've been on fire, for the last, few shows and stuff. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all check them out. What else, man? The weekend we probably gonna have some more things in tune for you. Check out Sosa's World. They just went live earlier today. So yeah, man, just stay tuned with us, man. We got some things coming down the line, down the pipeline. And appreciate everybody that been with us this far over the years, man. So peace,
Facts.
man.
Peace. I gotta address this. Hold on, Marcus or Chilimbwe. Yeah, Herbert. I mean, I tried, but hey, I'm gonna say this. This I put the trigger warning. Maybe some of those women had issues, and they don't want to relive it or were traumatized or were triggered. It's a sensitive subject, so I'm not gonna put any blame or judge anybody. We put the information out there. It'll be on YouTube for quite some time if people want to revisit and see it. So it's all good. Chilimbo, any final remarks?
Yeah, I appreciate those who have come out. We're gonna have to address these abos soon. So I'm gonna drop something soon about them stinking abos and their make believe stuff. Um, I am a PK official, so I can't just let the pseudonism run around having a field day without them being effectively addressed. So that's coming up. On the garden thing, yeah, we'll see what I can do. Um, hopefully we can keep the content coming, man. Hopefully y'all can share these shows with your friends and family, and we can get to increasing scientific literacy in a community that has a history of being disenfranchised and pushed out of and away from uh, education and science. So we hoping that we can continue that, and hoping that the content keeps coming. Big Bro Malcolm is planning on some things, and then we got Spaceman Anthony, Sosa World, and believe it or not, it's a few other pseudo killers out there roaming around. So we can definitely enjoy some things, man. I hope y'all continue to support the channel and support support where we're going to. So
Before you get your closing remarks, Mac Rob, let me address this. So it said, LOL, is being an apple a brain issue? Anyone want to answer that?
it is a issue. I don't know how much it is about being a brain issue. It's definitely
I
some
think it is.
cognitive. It's definitely some cognitive things going on, whether it's direct or indirect, because of the situations that they were brought up in, is irrelevant. It's definitely irrational. That we can guarantee. And so I've seen them. They running rampant. They just saying anything out their mouth, making stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
And so PseudoKillas got to address it soon. So
Yes, Mac Rob, we're gonna let you have it, fam.
I appreciate it, y'all. I'm trying to stop laughing, Mark. I will say, yeah, Mark, that you said cognitive, some implicit and explicit bias courses will probably benefit a lot of members in our community when it comes to accepting new information. In fact, I'm giving a community paramedic course right now, and I had a guy named Dr. Dwayne Loins, and he did an implicit bias class. He talked about
good.
social determinants of health. A lot of this, which would affect would affect postpartum depression as well. So, and hopefully I'll be able to, create a slideshow of some sort to kind of address some of these things on the PK show. As you mentioned, I will definitely be doing interactive anatomy and physiology courses. I am more and more ready to set that up. I just got to pick a date during our week, and we can start talking about some body systems and taking a look at where they're located and how they operate in detail, so we can.
Oh yeah,
That'd be hot.
That's going to definitely be needed, Mac, especially with that app that you shared with me and Marcus, man. That's
that's exactly what I'll be using too.
But I also would like to deal with some of the social issues, you know, that people deal with, particularly African Americans and hospitals. Like, is that a stigma or is that a real thing? That's literally what I would name the show. But implicit biases is like, I use that term a lot because it's important. It doesn't just happen in hospitals though. You know what I'm saying? It happens in schools too. It happens with policemen. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And different things like that. So I think that would be a good show to explain what that is and show how that works. Like, what is that? And, you know, is it a good thing? It's not. But I'm just saying, like, some people don't realize what implicit biases is, and how detrimental it can be to any group of people, not just Black people. So,
right. But yeah, another amazing show, y'all. I'm glad to be a part of these shows. I hope people took their notes and be ready to get it in next show.
Yeah. Well, y'all, I know y'all want us to stay, but y'all ain't hit the link. If y'all hit the link, I would have stayed a little longer. But until Wednesday for our Galaxy and Beyond, we out, y'all. Bye. Watch y'all take forever to get the song, because
I had that already loaded.
I'll be prepared, but we go. Bye. Hey.
And y'all make sure y'all check the PK Discord channel.
Ain't nobody put the link in for the PK Discord?
No, not for us. That's for y'all. It's official.
Oh, okay.
All right.
In there.
All right, then.
PseudoKillas, what up? Check. Tapping in, what's the subject? Evolution or revolution, we ain't done yet. Laying flat like Sanchez, this a bomb threat. I know my flow like Gangozi. Source up and show me, homie. You shut up and mute up a moment. The mad scientist, I'm knowing all the components. We own it, and we gon' off it if it's pseudo. You do know we don't entertain that keyboard judo. That big Bobby banger out of Baltimore. Done it all, shop before. Sold a little something, but I taught you more than your average teacher. I had to reach you at your level to bring you up. No devil can never beat you. With precision of a magi, the information supplied by some guys get debunked online. CK and Juju, I chill in the cut. But if you boys wanna fade, then I'm chefing you up. I organized lie, the beats of disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. SpaceAgeAfricans, back again. An organized lie, the beats of disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. SpaceAgeAfricans, tapping in. I always been fly, that's an actual omen. You can catch me in the sky, ask Anthony Bowman. You see me with his telescope, I was actually floating off some good kush. The Sadio is actually growing. See, Gullah and Kent is where the money gets spent. Them boys got some books that cost as much as your rent. The second verse should be smashed Rockwell, but I rock well. Underground like some Marion Rockwells. In the ring like I'm the rock whale. Hell, create a different wave that can rock whales. Hell, shit swell like lunar tides. My entendres off Gandra to who describe. Euthanize foolish guys. Scholastically, haphazardly. Turn your camera on and look me in my eyes. And please do subscribe. 8 to 80, blind, cripple, or crazy. You in for a new surprise. It's DQ, a organized lie. The beats of disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. SpaceAgeAfricans, back again. An organized lie. The beats of disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. SpaceAgeAfricans, tapping in.